For nearly 120 years, One More Child has provided Christ-centered services to vulnerable children and struggling families worldwide. The need is greater than ever. Compelled each and every day to reach one more, we are grateful for generous partners and supporters who come alongside us to ensure one more hungry child has been fed. One more foster child has found a loving Christian forever home. One more trafficking survivor has found refuge and healing. One more single mom has found community and strength. One more struggling family has found relief and stability. One more heart has found the love of Jesus. All of this was possible because people just like you said yes. Yes to mission trips. Yes to volunteering. Yes to giving. Yes to child sponsorship. Yes to one more. In a broken world, One More Child is rebuilding lives. One child and one family at a time. And your support is the driving force behind this vital work. Together, we can make an eternal impact. Together, we can reach one more.
At Practical Horsemen on Demand, you can take lessons with the top hunter, jumper, and eventing trainers in the world, anytime, anywhere. Stream from your computer, phone, tablet, or TV to learn from experts. Our extensive video library covers a variety of topics, from flat work to jumping and cross-country. Members get insider access to private lessons and clinics, step-by-step tutorials.
Well, a very good morning and a welcome to Terra Nova International Horse Trials. It is Cross Country Day. We're bringing you all of the action live as it happens, and it's going to be a really exciting day. First time that a four-star has come to Terra Nova, and the team very, very excited to be showcasing that for the year of 2023. Terra Nova Equestrian Centre, Florida's premier equestrian destination, tucked into the picturesque countryside of Mayaca City in Manatee County. Terra Nova, a welcoming setting for all levels of equestrian competition, and they've built a family-friendly facility designed to deliver an unparalleled experience for competitors and horses alike. No detail was overlooked, with 6 state-of-the-art arenas and a sprawling cross-country course designed by Olympic gold medalist Captain Mark Phillips and built by master craftsman Eric Bull. We'll have a look at that in just a few moments' time. Well, the Equestrian Centre and estate properties are a short drive from Sarasota's world-famous beaches, exciting downtown area, shopping, the Sarasota International Airport, and many diverse cultural events and venues. The place to pursue your passion for equestrian sports without compromise. Terra Nova offers all you could really wish for. And here you can build your dream estate and barn on 5 to 20 acres, train and compete at every level, and be part of a real community of like-minded people. Well, today we start with the 2-star, very exciting two-star competition, and they are following a track of a distance of 3,866 metres. The optimum time, 7 minutes and 26 seconds. It is going to be a real tough track out there for the two-star competitors, that is for sure. We'll have a look at that leaderboard after the dressage, and it was a very, very tight competition. The two-star is one of those real stepping stones into international stardom, and with a number of competitors on first-time two-star horses, it was Meg Pellegrini and Gorgeous DHI. She will, in fact, be first out of the start box with a dressage of 30.1. Janelle Fleming and Quality Explosion is second on 30.5, and Kirsten Miller with Rosconel Alto in third on 30.9. Very, very close at the top in the two-star. Well, one of the very exciting things that has been developing over the last few years here at Terra Nova is the amazing new golf complex. And we had a brief look behind the scenes at that. A beautiful golf course at a beautiful venue. Well, the four-star starts this afternoon at 12:30. Lucien Bellissimo leads the four-star for Great Britain and Tremantin on 31.5. Will Coleman and Diabolo in second, 34.0. And Jenny Carras, third, Trendy Fernhill, equal with Buck Davison and Errol Goby on 34.9. Jessie Phoenix, 3 horses in the four-star. She has 3 in the three-star as well. She is fifth. And Caroline Pamuchku with HSH Vamanos in 6th, equal with Mary Beth Davis and Imperio Magic. 8th is equal again, Jessie Phoenix and Sarah Kozenplik with Watson GS and Rock Phantom. And Emma Klugman for Australia in 10th place with Bronte Beach. Well, there as we flick over the page for the four-star, Alyssa Wallace and Renkum Corsair, Jenny Carras there as well with Melissa Boutin, with Obi Dancer, GS, Mia Brundell, Kashmir, Matthew Brown and Lisa Marie Ferguson. 23 combinations in the four-star. That starts at 12:30 this afternoon. And here at Terra Nova, it's going to be a very, very exciting day indeed. I am thrilled to be joined once again in the commentary position by a lady that's had a bit of a roller coaster of a weekend so far. It is Lynn Szymanski. Lynn, firstly, welcome.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Secondly, how's the boy?
Yeah, he's doing all right. We are taking a lot of extra precaution and staying over in isolation. We've determined that, anything scary is ruled out. All those blood tests came back, all the swabs came back, and just out of extra abundance of caution right now and respect for, FEI rules and everything going on, we are a little bit away from the horses. So it's been a nice little getaway and retreat. Sit and meditate every day, but he seems good.
So he picked up a bit of a bug, a tick.
A tick fever, yeah. It's been a pretty rampant up where I'm from in Virginia with our changing weather. So it was just some really bad timing, but unfortunately that is horses. So just take it day by day and see how he feels. And, if he feels like just come back another day, then you pull up. If he feels like he's, feeling like doing it, then you go out and give it a go.
Well, fingers crossed, and you're out on the cross country later on. Now, let's just have a quick talk about Captain Mark Phillips' cross country course, because it's not just the Ford 3, 2 and 1. There are also the national classes out there as well. I had a walk round. It is mind-boggling, all the fences, and I mean, you've got to know exactly where you're going. And if you've got horses in different divisions,
I don't know how you would do it. I mean, it is, you go out there and you actually need your map for once to walk a cross-country course, and even at that, it is a sea of jumps. And I mean, everything is decorated beautifully. The jumps are presented beautifully. It's just looks immaculate, but it is a lot to look at. And that's a lot for those horses, especially some of the younger horses in the national divisions. I don't think they will have ever seen atmosphere like this before. And all the jumps, it's very hard for everybody to focus. Horses, not enough, but me included.
Well, let's hope for a good day. The sun is just starting to poke its head through the clouds, which is great news because it was a pretty damp morning again. We had rain on Wednesday, Thursday. Yesterday was a beautiful day. Eventually, it was very foggy to start with, but this morning it was very damp. But the sun is coming out. And I think that will play its part as well, won't it, on the cross country, because it's pretty flat out there. It's very twisty and turny. But it's a good course out there that Captain Mark has set. Yeah,
it really is. And, if you're smart, you try and go out and walk the time of day that you're set to go, just so you have an idea of what the shadows look like. Everything is very flat and wide open. You do have some stuff in the trees. And, it's just getting a feel for what each of the fields look like. It feels like you have a few different tracks that were all meshed into one, and you go into one derby field, and then you go into another. It's a great feeling, though, and the atmosphere throughout is fantastic. It's a great place to come and spectate. Terra Nova's done an incredible job building this facility, and, it's really exciting to see more and more riders of all levels coming to support it.
It truly is, and the first time they've had a 4-star here as well, and we're really looking forward to that showcase later on this afternoon. But we start with the 2-star, and Meg Pellegrini, as we said, is our leader after dressage, and she's in fact our first to go. That's her in fact, she's on course. She's already away from the start box. So Meg with gorgeous DHI is away over the first couple of fences. And these two start on a very good dressage of 30.1, only 0.4 ahead of second place Janelle Fleming and Quality Explosion. That is 1 second on the cross country.
Yeah, I mean, and you see where everyone is on the leaderboard, but it can really shake it up today. It'll be interesting to see how time plays a part in each of these divisions. I think it's going to be very influential just because it is such a twisty, turny track in some places. So you really have to know where you're going, be quite efficient on your lines. It looks like Meg came out of the box, not wasting a single second since she started. This horse, I think, a relatively new ride for her. It was previously campaigned by Will Coleman.
Yeah, this is a few, that is in fact live pictures. She's jumped the picnic table at 6 and the optimum time of 7 minutes and 26 seconds. So she's just gone past or coming up to the first combination fence at 7A and 7B, which is the gate to corner. We're not quite going to see that, are we? This is it. So she's jumped the gate and the corner, that right-handed corner, and moves on away to the Mim Oxer at 8. So the Mim Oxer at 8, and then there's another combination fence on the turn, which is at 9A, B, C, the ditch combination.
Yeah, and this is a part of the course where it really opens up. You have a bit of a twisty, turny part in the beginning, and this is a place where you can finally get them back out in front of your leg if they're feeling like they were just a little backed off in the beginning. You saw this horse give the ditch and wall that she jumped a big look, but the horse is quite honest, straight on her line so far.
So the 11-year-old coming to 9A, B and C. This is just before her 3-minute marker. So they jump the rail, which is on a mim clip, then the ditch and an angle brush. But at this level, it's quite a nice, soft, inviting combination, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I mean, you have the airy rails. It's enough to look at, but there's not a big decrease on the landing, and, you know, a nice footwork exercise. And you saw her make light work of that on quite a big model of a horse.
Yeah, he's 11 years old, gorgeous DHI, owned by Meg herself. And as she goes away from that rail, ditch and hedge brush shoulder at 9, she now goes towards the next combination fence, which is angle brushes. Ooh, and that's a fall for our second out on course. And that is Christina Barber and Royal Oak. Decanting poor Christina in the ditch at 5.
Oh, well, that is a bummer way to end your weekend there. And, you know, we saw Meg's horse give that quite a look, and you see the way the sun casts on it. It's quite bright. It's quite spooky. So you come in the beginning of the track to have a ditch and wall in the beginning. If you have a horse that may be a little bit of a careful type, I think they can give it a second peek, even if you're not used to them being peaky.
Yeah. But we go back to Meg now and our dressage leader. This is gorgeous DHI coming now. Well, I think they were going to the water on that first water on the outward bound, and I think that is her safely through the water.
You see her waste no time there. She gives them, you know, just a little reminder, a little kick, and gets moving along. And now we'll see her go. Well, we won't see her go through the tree line, because that is the challenge with this area. You know, they've cleared so much land and we have so much open space, but also you have to weave between the trees. It makes our cameraman's job quite hard as well. Yeah,
it really does. They're just finding their feet in the beginning of this 2-star long cross country. Alyssa Wallace is away. Alyssa with Lissavora quality. This is only a young horse, this 7 years old, and they have a dressage score after the first phase.
Yeah, and we see her just starting out, and, you know, Lisa's no stranger to the top levels of the sport and knows how to go fast, but you see her just taking her time in the beginning, especially on a greener horse. You know, you have to have a feel for what kind of ride they need coming out of the box, and some of them need to go out like their hind end is on fire, and some of them you need to just let them ease on into the track.
Yeah, 32.7 Alyssa's dressage score. Well, now because coming into this arena fence, in fact, we didn't see the arena fence, but they're coming back to the second water now. That is Alyssa Wallace just jumping 5, the open ditch at 5. Here is Meg coming. She's jumped the arena fence. Now she's coming to the second water.
Oh, having a little trot step there. You know, and she obviously knows her horse well. So I have to say, I did not walk the entire 2-star track there, so I'm not sure what the plan was, but it looked like that was very deliberate in her plan there. Give the horse an extra second to see.
Yeah, very deliberate. And then on and off the bank to that left-handed corner. So the cedar rail to corner at 18AB. It's the mim table now, just behind the gazebos. Unfortunately, we didn't get to see that. And then onto the feed wagon, very nearly home for our Trailblazer. And that is Alyssa Wallace just going out into the country. She's going up to the rails at 8. The mim oxa. And the mim clip is a safety device that's been very, very welcomed onto the eventing scene. Safety, of course, paramount at all of these levels.
No, 100%. And I don't know if you'd say the course builders feel like they're excited.
Yeah.
It makes a lot of extra work for on the event organizers and builders side, but we certainly appreciate it because, you know, the welfare of our horses is so paramount. She did a great job through there.
Yeah, really good. And it was actually really good to see from the back side as well, because you just saw Alyssa open that right rein just to make sure that this horse, and young horse, really stayed on his line. So they disappear from 9A, B and C, which is the rail, ditch and brush shoulder at 9. Just going to their 3-minute marker now. Try and get a score in for our first round, Meg Pellegrini. So I think she's completed. But we've got eyes on now Lisa Marie Ferguson and Trinity. Thank you.
You're welcome.
We're away already. So Trinity, thank you, comes on to the cross country with Lisa Marie Ferguson. They have a dressage score. Just trying to find their dressage score, in fact. It was on the screen briefly. And also, well, that tells me we've got a ping in on eventing scores. So it does tell us we've got a score in for our first round. Does it? Yes, it does. And it is clear and it is inside the time. She was 19 seconds inside the time, Meg Pellegrini, and gorgeous DHI. She remains on 30.1, and that will give her an overnight lead again.
Very exciting for her, and I don't think we're very surprised to hear that she came in under the time. She looks super efficient. The horse has an incredible gallop, and she obviously knew she was in under the time. She had a few trot steps going into the water, just really enjoying her time out there.
That's it, yeah. Well, Lisa Marie Ferguson's dressage is 35.6 with Trinity, thank you. So this Irish sport horse, another young one, 7 years old.
And I think that is Lisa, we see coming.
Yeah.
That's Lisa Marie Ferguson, just through the coffin there.
Yeah, just going through 9. And that was, as you say, Alyssa Wallace just coming home with Liz Savora Quality.
I think they were trying to get her through the chicaners, is my guess.
Yeah.
There we go. Now we're coming into the arena here and right in front of us.
So this is the arena fence. Yeah, just as you say, right in front of us. There she goes to
the... Oh, now she's moving.
Yeah, to the white oxer.
I don't know if that was her plan.
And then into the arena. Just this little speed bump of a fence. That is a replica of the barns here. The wonderful job that they've done. And as they turn now to the water, so log in. Sets up.
It looks like quite a tricky line there to get the horse's attention on that log, which it was well done holding her horse in the line there. It looks like she's just having a bit of a discussion with her in the second part of this track.
And then jumps the corner. New starter out on course. That is Ashley Green and HSH Phoenix. And Lisa Marie Ferguson back with her at the first water, safely through there. There's a lot of fences there. And I've always said, and I don't know whether you'd agree, but when you've got a horse, especially the younger horses at an international, even the national horses, you know, when you go cross country, you've got to be so on the course that you're riding, because these horses, they could pick up any fence. Yep. You've got to be right on it.
Yeah, and I think you learn that the hard way. When you know, you come and you take for granted the horses walk the course and knows where they are. Yeah. And, you know, even in a regular competition, but especially here, you have to be so clear with them and direct on the line, because you're looking where you're supposed to be going. They have no idea.
No.
And I think the design here at this level, I think they were kind in this first water to get their feet wet and kind of jump in and out, because that second water, as we said, was quite tricky for us to even figure out where they were going on the end.
100%. And you can see the horses. I mean, that is a very good point, just to reiterate as well, that we've walked it. The horses haven't. They have no idea what they're supposed to be jumping, whether they're jumping that fence, or that fence. And the rider has to do their job quite a long way out to make sure that they understand the question in front of them. So Lisa Marie Ferguson to our right-hand side, just coming into the arena fence. She's had a good round, hasn't she? Mm-hmm. Lovely horse coming now to the water.
It's funny, now I see, unfortunately you guys don't see it on the screen, but it looks like we have Leslie Law in the background attempting to get on a very excited horse, because the cross country comes galloping right by us.
Oh yes, he is. Well, we've got eyes on Leslie, and the grey is very interested in what's going on cross country. But we'll get to see Leslie a little bit later on. So another score in the 2-star, this time for Alyssa Wallace and Liz Savora Quality. Again, round in 7 minutes and 4 seconds. No jumping, no time. They complete on their dressage at 32.7. So that will be a very handy score for her moving forwards to the show jumping tomorrow. Mark Donovan is course designer for the show jumping. So we just go down the course, and this looks like it is now Robin Walker. Robin with Capog Ferro Royale CDS. And here is Ashley Green. Ashley just coming to the backside of the course, and I think she's just coming up towards the Tricana, or just going through the trees and then onto the white rails. In fact, she is at those white rails before turning left-handed to the arena fence. I think our camera guys are doing a really good job because they're not used to cross-country either. And, you know, when you don't know really where they're going, let alone which horse to pick up and where, it's a really hard task. And that is another new starter out on course. And also a score for Lisa Marie Ferguson, 7 minutes and 13 seconds, so well inside the time for her, 35.6. And we're just going back up the course to catch up with Ashley Green and HSH Phoenix, nicely through the bank and corner combination right towards the end. That is at 18A and 18B. So she goes on to the picnic table, which we don't quite see. But as we go back up the course now is Robin Walker and Capog Ferro Royale, CDS, and he is at the water.
And you see Robin just go to the back seat and get to the end of his reins. You know, the horse looks just like they're having a discussion in the beginning of the track. They come back from a very long gallop. So on a big horse or a strong horse, you really have to make sure you take your time to rate them and get them back listening to you.
And Callie Hero there with Watermark. That was our latest starter. In fact, we missed starting Robin Walker, but that is Callie. And we go back up the course now to, looks like, is that Ashley coming home?
No, it looks like maybe that's a new
starter.
Yeah. What's a surprise?
It could be Bethany out of the start box.
Then we have Robin jump in the Tricaner. And this jumps back into this huge area. There's so much going on in this area. You have several arenas going on. We have show jumping that you guys can't see right now, but they're galloping right past the show jumping. You go in the cross country. This is where right by where all the dressage was happening these last 2 days. Robin looking like maybe he's having a little conversation on control here. You know, and he sets his horse up for those rails. It gives you something to ride against. But as a rider, you also have to think all of these have clips on them now, so you can't get away with a little ding.
It's quite a big horse, this, and Robin, as you say, having quite the discussion coming into those white rails, and even more of a discussion coming into the water.
Yeah, and this is where it's just a little hard for the horses to tell what is happening up here, because you're right up against the edge of that wall. And it's a big enough log going into the water, and then you have to be quite good. Whoa, clever little bit of footwork there. Quite good on your line there to show him the corner on the way out. You know, and then you have this next combination right away, so it does feel, you know, more like a showcase. So it looks like he chooses to go out. I don't know if there's a black flag option there. He's choosing to take a voluntary 20 on a circle.
Yeah, I don't think there is a black flag, so that will be a 20 penalty there, I think. But we just go up to the coffin fence at 9, A, B, and C. Bethany Hutchins, Kristen, and Gellick HVF.
You know, it's funny, you see by those area rails, we have these palm trees everywhere because back up north at home, you're used to everything being decorated by evergreens and brush, and here there's palm trees galore. So when the wind blows, I was saying yesterday, it looks like you have some of those arm dancers on each side of the jump. Oh, it looks like we have Robin here calling it a day, maybe.
It looks like Robin has retired. He had 3 refusals at 18B, which is a bit of a shock. And also we understand that Callie Hero and Watermark, they had 2 refusals at 10A, which is the first of the angle brushes and retired. So she's walking home as well. But that's a real shame to see Robin walking home after that, the trouble he picked up at 18B, because although it looked a bit sticky in places, they seem to be helping each other out.
Yeah, and I guess, sometimes the horses grow and they learn and they get better as it goes on, and sometimes they're still getting an education, but you're just more on the opposite page. Once you get towards the end of the track and you have a 20 like that, sometimes they, just kind of spit the bit out or decide they don't understand what the question is, and maybe it's time to go home and do some homework and come back another day.
Yeah, well, that is Bethany, Hutchins, Kristen. Briggs Surratt is our latest starter. He's had a refusal at the 5th, which is the ditch and brush.
Yeah, so that is riding quite peaky. I remember hearing in the rider briefing yesterday that they had added a ground line there, or a little more definition, so it gives you something to ride against, but also with the light this time of day, it does make it quite spooky.
Well, that is Briggs there going on to the railed Oxer at 8. He's carrying those 20 penalties from fence 5.
It's nice to see everything so green here, but I'll tell you, it was so nice walking across this track because we haven't all been blessed with a lot of rain this fall, and I know down here has been the same. They're working really hard to irrigate the track and keep it as good as possible, and we got lucky with some rain the other day. It felt amazing to walk.
Yeah, it really did. I mean, it feels like you're walking on a cushion of air, and the whole course here is irrigated.
Yeah.
And so it is phenomenal. There's drainage as well, so it is perfect going, and it will be all year round. Well, just up with Bethany at the water. I can also tell you that Ashley Green and HSH Phoenix are safely home clear inside the time, 7 minutes and 20 seconds, so just inside by 6 seconds, and they complete on 35.3.
And Bethany doing a good job there in the water. The horse, his ears are pricked the whole time, and she takes an extra second to make sure she really knows that horse understands where it's going, and once it does, she holds it between the flags. It's very genuine.
And that's important at this level. I think any level that the horse understands what's in front of it and understands the question. We take for granted, as we were talking about, the fact that we've walked the course, but actually to take your time, especially at these lower levels, let the horses see what's in front of them.
Yeah.
Pays off later on.
It does, because once you get up to that 5-star level, you have to rely on being able to turn from like a blind turn into a very narrow margin of error, and those horses have to trust you.
Yeah.
So you take the beginning of their career and make sure they really instill the basics and they really trust you, that then they don't question once the fences get a little harder, the angles get more severe.
The only thing they question, I think, is our sanity.
I don't know. I've sat on some. I question their sanity.
Well, just jumping through 9A, B, C, Sarah Beth Anton and Go-Go. Go-Go they go. And away from that down to the next combination, which is at 10A and 10B. Combinations come up quite late in the course in, I think, the 1, 2, 3 and 4-star. Mm-hmm. Our first combination fence here is at 7 in the 2-star, which I think is quite nice. Usually we'd see a combination at fence 4.
Yeah.
But quite late for a lot of these. Briggs then coming to the Tricana. Is he a bit ditchy? Well, it wasn't getting a chance there.
Maybe correct that earlier mistake there, and he was not taking any second chances.
It always interests me as well. He had a quick check of his watch as he jumped that Tricana. It wouldn't be at the forefront of my mind, checking on my watch after I'd had a refusal.
No, definitely not. But at the same token, because the jumps are so close together, that may be one of the only places you feel like you have a little bit of a let up to just check in and reorganize your head and make a plan for the second half.
So he comes into and out of the arena, and we'll go to the second and final water. And it's been interesting sitting here, and I know for the trot up there's a lot of alligators here.
There were alligators at the trot up.
Yeah, they were watching the trot up. So from the trot up strip, they were actually watching, and Wayne Quarles got pictures of them, and as long as they stayed there, then it was fine. But yeah, they were at the trot up.
That's how you get sent if you go to the hold.
Exactly, exactly.
Briggs had quite a good piece of riding there at the corner on the way out. You know, he stood off it quite a bit. It wasn't the ideal distance, but he got in the back seat and held the horse between the flags, and it was quite a clever bit of riding on his end.
Well, he heads towards home with Ingemar, and there, just coming to 9, is Andre Parot and Montbeg Downtown, two-time Olympian in Andre, brother Carlos Parot, based in the UK. He's spent a bit of time over there as well, and the Brazilians who qualified for the Games at the Pan Ams, finishing in bronze medal position. And of course, the individual gold medalist, Caroline Pamuchku, who's coming later on. And we're coming into the arena now. This is Sarah Beth Anton and Gogo with the dressage 36.9.
You know, another one you see swinging wide, and you see the horse just go from galloping to really switching on and pricking those ears forward, and that's hard for the horses. Ooh, yeah, another one. It just, you're better going out and just giving them an extra second to see what they're jumping, but that's what you rely on the training there, you know, when they don't have an extra second to be able to lock on and see where they're going. Find the other thing hard, Spencer, I don't know what you think about the changing footing of going from the grass and then going into the arena. And, you know, it feels like they switch off and on a little bit, and it's hard going immediately into the water there.
It was one thing that we picked up on, actually, and I think more so for the younger horses and the lower level than the 4-star on 3 and 4-star later on. Andre Parot. This is a good example here as well for the 4-star. They come on and off the island, but yeah, going from the arena to the water, there's not much time on the grass, and they do just slow themselves down, I think, more than the riders anticipate.
Yeah, I mean, and even, you know, sometimes just going across tracks that have footing in them, the horses change. Some of them jump them, some of them, you know, kind of take a second. I always feel, I don't know about you, that I will kind of try and squeeze a horse from my leg into the contact and give them a little more support on that changing footing as well.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's something again you learn as you get older, but it is something that you, I think, take for granted too, that you know, horses are not machines, and some react in a completely different way. Some take no notice whatsoever, but I think you've got to be really ready, and I think that is the thing that's changing about cross-country riding now, is that it is more about reaction, and riders being so reactive to the horses and the conditions and what's in front of them. They can't go any wider or skinnier. You know, it's down to the riders, the onus back on the riders now to ride these courses. And it's changing. We're seeing a lot of change throughout the world in the standard, and I think it's just getting so high. I mean, these guys making it look pretty easy, and it isn't. But everybody knows that, and the hours, the blood, sweat, and tears, and there's more of the latter than there is of the initial. You know, it's such hard work, but everybody puts in the training, and you reap the rewards. Andre's gone on quite the tight line to that fence, but he obviously knows this horse well. And again, he sat quietly. He didn't bustle the horse to the rail or that log on the way out. He just let the horse do the jumping.
Yeah, and looks like he's giving this horse a really good educational round. It'll be interesting to see what his time comes in on this one, because we haven't seen him moving as quick as some of the others that went earlier.
But then that can be deceptive, can't it? Because he's not really having to do much setting up. He's just jumping the fences out of his rhythm.
Some of the quickest horses in cross country are not actually the quickest horses. It's just the most efficient.
And one of those, if you have chance to watch, is the great William Fox Pitt and Andrew Nicholson in his day. I mean, it was like he had an inbuilt clock in his head, but they just gallop and jump, and that saves so much time when you don't have to set the horses up, and they're very quickly back into their rhythm as well. So just coming to the arena fences, and that one fence, the replica barn of the Terra Nova. It's interesting, on the entrance we saw in the opening gambit, well, the two horses on the fountain, Terra and Nova.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Which belong to Hannah and Zach, who are co-founders of this amazing facility. Steve, father, has put so much backing into. Terra and Nova means new land in Latin.
I didn't know it went back to the horses.
Lovely, yeah. Lovely story. Well, that just going through there is Sarah Beth Anton and Go-Go. I think that was her just going through there. We've got a score. No, it wasn't, because Sarah Beth Anton is home. 7 minutes and 18 seconds for her. Completes on 36.9. Briggs Surratt with his 20 jumping and 7.2 time. Completes on 64.6. 7 combinations have come home. And the time is looking pretty achievable, as you would expect at this level. You know, going up the levels, it gets more tougher, it gets more difficult. But here, we've got 6 inside the time, which is great news. Andre Parrot, as you said, didn't look the speediest, 9.2 for time.
Yeah, and I think he gave the horse a really educational round, and he rode the horse that, you know, he was new on the day.
Yeah.
And there's a lot that we don't know behind the scenes of all these horses of what's going on, you know, whether the horse is green, whether it's experienced and coming off an injury, what it feels like on the day, what the rider's short-term and long-term goals are. So there's a lot of planning in each rider that goes into where they're going to run fast, where they're going to run slow. Here you'd think that most would be trying to run competitively, since it's the final of the year at the long format.
Yeah, and only a 7-year-old. So, you know, he took his time and gave the horse a very good ride. So just jumping the Oxer, enormous jump at the Oxer, and turning to the arena fence now. This is Mr. Pumpkin and Audrey Littlefields.
I think that this may be Ashley Kehoe, actually.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is, Ashley. And Dak Taris coming into the water.
I'm not sure how many rides she has here this weekend, but I do believe that her horse may be one that went missing for a brief time one morning.
Here?
Yeah.
Really?
She and Chris Talley ended up, I think their horses had different plans one night, and maybe they went out for a little party, but
Oh,
I
my
think she
goodness.
found them, and both horses are good and doing well in the standings this weekend.
That is too funny. Well, not at the time. And then just coming through the water, looked like Olivia Jefferson and FGF Flannery. And there we have Andrew Palmer. Andrew just jumping the second with Ladino. Ladino, 9-year-old, 16-hand Dracana, this grey, owned by Andrew himself.
You know, and I think a lot coming inside the time can also be attributed, as you alluded to earlier, how there's quite a bit of open galloping in the beginning of this track, where I think as we move up the levels today, you'll see time harder and harder to make, not just because it's a quicker speed, but there's a lot more to do in the beginning of the track.
And it's quite twisty and turny too as we go up the levels. Captain Mark has done an amazing job at designing these tracks. Eric Bull, who is our master craftsman builder, has done an incredible job out there with the team as well.
And I think Mogi has taken over recently. Mogi Bearden Muller is designing some of the lower level tracks here as well.
So this is Olivia Jefferson coming into the second water with FGF Flannery. Just going a little bit disunited coming in there, and more importantly, what you need to think about when horses do that is just riding the balance, riding the canter. Don't think too much about what's going on underneath you. Just get to the fence in the best balance that you can. And it was interesting. I've been trained for many, many years by Ginny Elliott, Ginny Holgate, Ginny Leng that was, and Ginny always said, you know, if you think too much about what's going on underneath you, then everything's gone out in front of you. So just concentrate. And she actually made me ride, and she was a brilliant one at doing it, ride on the buckle end to a lot of cross-country fences. And I questioned her sanity then and said, why? And she said, because you never know. You might have to ride like that, so we're going to make you ride like that. And she would make me ride off of a right turn in
I believe up to 5,000 acres, and they have a lot of plans in the future for this area, and you already see so much work being done.
This was all swamp.
Yeah,
It's
isn't that
unbelievable.
incredible how much work they've done here?
It is phenomenal.
Yeah.
It really is. And if you haven't been, do put it on a bucket list. It's a hidden gem. It really is. And if you can't get here, Google it, because the pictures, not that they do it that much justice, but it is just stunning. Absolutely stunning.
It is, and there's just a short trip to the ocean as well. If you know, I mean, it's a
Even
pretty
better.
cool location.
Even better. And I'm definitely doubling my vacation stay next year. So Hugh Wrigley and Effie Santos, they are well on their way home, and we just had a glimpse, didn't catch the number, but we'll hopefully bring you news on a rider in just a second. Olivia Jefferson, FGF Flannery, they're home, 6 minutes 59 seconds, one of, if not the fastest of the day, 27 seconds inside, and completes on 42.0. Coming to the gate and corner.
So I'm going to guess maybe that was Mallory Stiver that we saw passing the rider before her, because you go all the way out there, and these guys are running at 2-minute intervals. You'll see as the track goes on, the 3-star will have a little bit longer between riders, and 4-star even longer than that. And that's because there's a lot of places where these horses cross. And
That
so
looks like Andrew walking home, doesn't it?
it does. But maybe it was from the vet box.
Yeah, it could be. It could be. I haven't had any reports that he's retired, although we've got another score in for Hugh Wrigley and Effie Santos. 7 minutes and 2 seconds, 33.3 goes into 4th place. So that is Mallory Stiver, well done, and Hennessy Venom, which is an 8-year-old 16-1 thoroughbred owned by Ginger Stiver. And okay, so retiring after fence 9, which is the rail, ditch and brush shoulder, was unfortunately, as we thought, it was Andrew Palmer and Ladino.
And that's a long walk back from all the way out there, unfortunately.
He pulled a shoe.
Okay.
So he's retired.
Yeah, and I mean, you got to know your horse. Some people, even if they know the horse pulls a shoe, if they have a very good footed horse, this footing feels fantastic. But, you know, on others, you save them. It's that early in the course, you save them for another day.
Yeah. So just coming to the second water, Michelle Mercier and Shashin Fun for All.
It gives a really nice ride in there. You've seen some of the horses peaking a lot more, but this one looks full of confidence. You know, interesting there. You watch this horse. She's having a little conversation with him. It gets a little short in the neck towards the end when she goes to half halt and pull on the reins. But you see her, she gets up to that rail on top, and she just softens her arm a bit to let the horse have his head when he gets to a little bit of an awkward distance. You know, with these pins everywhere, you have to think about that as a rider, and you can't underride anything and be too careful, but you do have to ride a little bit different than you did when you knew those weren't going to possibly come down. And she lets the horse just use his body as well as he can if we weren't on their back.
Yeah, it is definitely in one's mind when riding cross country, because they come down, can come down very easily, and we've seen a couple of fences out there. There's a big oxer on the far side of the 4-star that's got yellow mim clips on, which are the ones that break much easier than the red ones. And we sort of questioned why it was on there, but it's big timber, and if you hit that, I mean, it's designed to save a fall, then they do their job, but it's very costly. It is 11 penalties. And when you're Mikael Jung and you're at an Olympic Games and you break one of those pins, you know.
Those ones are expensive. Looks like we just saw Samantha Tinney there through the coffin on Cooley Dreamcatcher.
And coming to the white rails to our right-hand side and about to jump the water is that Michelle Mercier? That is Mallory Stiver, Hennessy Venom, coming now to the water. Right underneath the camera.
Nice race, no time in here.
No, none. And you can see all of the fences that everyone's having to gallop through, and certainly not hanging around. That is Samantha going towards the Oxer, the railed Oxer, Mim Doxer at 8. Or is it Donna? Donna Miller. Donna Miller. And then you get a good idea of
And
just
isn't that
how many fences.
Yeah, and you see what I like about that though. You see this tree that probably came down here recently, and they've repurposed here. So it's not just these frangible rails and big, built corners. They're still using natural logs, and as we see here, using brush. And I think they do a good job of mixing it up. So you see all different types of fences here.
So could poker. Could poker Tartifume.
Very clever.
Could poker Tartifume. I think this is a little stallion Donna's riding. Connemara, owned by herself. Dressage 36.8. And we've also, Samantha Tinney's had a refusal at 10B. So that's another one at the angle brushes, just out of sight. This is latest starter. This is now Pedro Gutierrez with California Male. Not Donna Miller as it says, but Pedro with this 11-year-old California Male, Self-Français. There is Kudpoka. It looks a lot quicker, but it's not a very big horse.
No, so being a Connemara pony, it looks like it's going faster than any of them, but that's because it has a lot more strides out there.
And he got little legs. Coming up to the white rails on our right-hand side is Samantha Tinney, carrying those 20 penalties that she picked up at the second of the angle brushes at 10. Cooley Dreamcatcher flies out over the Mimic's barn. That is the Terra Nova barn. And now to the Root Ball Water.
You see some of the horses, not necessarily that they're tired, but just switch off a bit going through the turn, just coming into there. It's because you're going back to the barns. They actually know the horses are there in the show jumping, and sometimes that does have an effect on some of these greener ones.
Yeah, and Samantha just steadying down for the rail on the top of the bank. Another fence that's on a Mim clip, so really needing to respect that. The 9-year-old Cooley Dreamcatcher.
Yeah, and she also takes a little bit of time, just if you see the horse gets a little lower in its gallop as it goes on the track.
Well, Pedro Gutierrez and California Male, they picked up 20 penalties at the corner at 7B as well. It's causing enough trouble out there.
It definitely is. And I think you'll see things scattered throughout as the day goes on, because they're just going to be a heartbreaking 20 for a lot of them, and something you thought the horse saw, and they're just a little distracted somewhere.
Just getting a little tap down the shoulder is Kudpoka Tartifume. Whee!
Does all the gates there going in, but as you say, that's as long as the horse knows where it's going. I mean, this little pocket rocket looks like it does not care.
No, and they're the legs you want on the cross country, that's for sure. The ones that can find the fifth leg, get you out of trouble, and he looks like he's having a ball. She clearly knows how to ride him, because she gave him a little rattle down the shoulder before the water and just said, come on, come on, come on, and he just fiddled his little legs and patted the ground and popped in as good as any.
Yep, they look like no strangers to each other. It looks like Pedro maybe either calling it, he may be calling it a day here.
Yeah. So that is a sad end to the Mexicans' day. Pedro Gutierrez and California Male have sadly retired. Well, the melee of cross-country fences out there. A lot of the fallen trees. There's another of them there, right-hand corner of your screen, as we go back up course to Ana Losiavo and Fernhill Maverick. This is a 7-year-old. And Fernhill Maverick in the 2-star, coming forwards with a dressage score.
Well, Spencer, you missed it. You're looking at scores right now.
I am.
We get to see everybody on a bike following whoever their rider is out to this far field. These electric bikes are very popular now, and it's how everybody gets around to be a moving cameraman here. So you see everybody's team. They send somebody out to go follow them all the way to that backfield and all the way back.
So just going back up course to, this is Anna. No, this is, it is Anna, isn't it?
I believe so.
Yeah. Anna Losiavo and Fernhill Maverick.
I don't know this horse. Anna's brought a few horses through the levels over the last few years, and this looks like a beautiful rangy type, so it's nice to see her getting some younger up-and-coming mounts under her string.
32.4 the dressage, lying in 6th place, and that is Elizabeth Pagan and The Wild Expectation, 11-year-old, 16-hand thoroughbred mare.
And there you see Eric Bull out there inspecting the course with the rest of the builders, and these guys are doing an amazing job walking around the entire day and filling in any little divots or holes, even from just a little bit of cut up grass from the horses on landing side. And they're there all day to make sure these clips stay in the place they need to and inspect them, even if a horse is just rattled a jump a bit. And they are some busy guys. Oh, sit up. Oh my gosh, that was an incredible save.
Yeah, very well done, Elizabeth
She
Pagan.
turns around to see if the clip fell, which it did not. It looked like the horse actually didn't directly impact it. It almost just left a leg and slid over it instead. I am a little surprised it didn't come down.
She also picked up 20 penalties at fence 5. That's another at that ditch and brush at fence 5, as Anna and Fernhill Maverick now make their way towards the arena fence. Well, Anna safely through the water and coming down to the rail and corner. Again, not the fastest, but we do understand, as I said, Elizabeth picked up, we saw her that miraculous save at the rail, but did pick up 20 penalties at the ditch and brush.
Yeah, and you wonder, you maybe just saw that coming. A horse had a bit of a peek at those rails that are on top of a bit of a mound, and so you get a feel for what you're sitting on that day early in on the track.
Well, just going, this is Kirsten Miller and Rosconnell Alto, 8-year-olds, 17-hand Irish sport horse.
I saw those bright stands being brought out there yesterday on a big tractor, and it gives you, I think you have it so you can see a little more. We have the trees in the way, so I think sometimes we get a good shot from our overhead camera. Ooh, I almost left a stride out there. It's a big, beautiful type.
Or going down to 10 now. She's just gone past her 3-minute mark. I just had a quick check on her watch there. That optimum time, 7 minutes and 26 seconds. It's been pretty achievable for most. And we're going back up the course now to Elizabeth Pagan and Wild Expectation. They're coming to the first water. They're not going that fast, and not far behind them is Kirsten Miller, so they may well get caught up. So safely through the first of the waters, and I shouldn't think we'll be too far behind, catching up with Kirsten Miller, who is probably just about to come into shot, but crossing over and through the trees. And this is just, they're coming to the white rails, I think. Nope, that is Kirsten Miller. So she's only a couple of fences behind Elizabeth Pagan. Good Irish sort, isn't he?
It is, yeah. What is the breeding on this one? Sometimes it doesn't tell you.
No, that is a good question. I will try and find out for you. Well, a check on the clock. I shouldn't think that's too bothering of Elizabeth as she goes now onto the white rails. Just look to our right-hand side as she approaches those rails. So Elizabeth goes on to the arena fence.
Yeah, and I think this is another one we'll see pick up some time penalties as she goes on, because she does look a little deliberately slower than some of the other ones. But again, she knows this horse better than any of us do. Gives quite a good ride into the water, though, So if you're taking a little extra time, I think, whoa, it really does catch some of them by surprise. And the light this time of day does play a factor as well.
Not too far behind is Kirsten Miller and Ross Connell Alto. Ian Cassell's rode this horse up to the 3-star level by Tabasco von Epicom. Cavalier Clover Lad, the dam sire. So some proper Irish breeding.
That's why we noticed it.
Yep. Our new starter is Addison Craig and O.T. Bandini. They've had a fall at 5.
Oh, no.
So
it's causing the most trouble out there so far.
So another one to fall foul of that ditch and brush at 5. It's quite a big fence. Mm-hmm. And especially for the lower levels, it's a yawning ditch, more of a rider frightener, but clearly a bit of a horse frightener as well this morning.
Yeah, and I do think the light really, as we were saying, does play a part with the shadows, especially this time of year. It just in the summertime, I think you have so much more light in the way it casts this time of year. It just for some reason, I think it makes it makes it spookier out there and a little harder to read.
It does look very spooky out there with the Spanish moss and the dead trees. Looks very,
like
very...
the Wizard of Oz.
Doesn't it? Very Halloween-y. But just going to try and catch up with... we've had that fall at 5. Good to hear that they're absolutely fine. We will, of course, report if anything untoward has happened to any of the riders, but all safe and sound so far. It is Meg Pellegrini who sits out in front with that good clear inside the time. She was first to go with gorgeous DHI. Michelle Mercier second, 31.0. They were fourth after dressage. Of course, we've still got Janelle Fleming to come with Quality Explosion. lying in second place. Third place, Kirsten Miller and Rosconnell Alto. They're out there at the moment on that good dressage of 30.9. And then Meg Pellegrini with Cooley Wish Upon a Star. They are still to come, lying in fifth place as we go towards the... We're just over halfway, in fact, in the two-star, and Elizabeth Pagan is safely home to Wild Expectation. She picked up 39.6 time penalties and 20 jumping penalties to complete on 100.2.
Looks like we have our guys out there maybe doing a little bit of fence repair to the ditch and wall.
At 5, yeah. May be able to zoom in and just see what they're doing. They have, I mean, the ground jury will be watching this fence, and they may well do something. They may be changing something. I think it's more the fact that what are they doing? Wish we could see what they were doing. They may be putting something in the bottom of the ditch. Difficult to tell, but they can change it if it's causing too many problems.
Yeah, and that's a call for these officials, you know, to make, is just because a certain jump is causing some trouble doesn't mean there's necessarily something inherently unsafe about it. And that's a funny thing as a rider, you know, you maybe don't think too much about one of the jumps, and then you hear some people having trouble, and it's almost like some therapy session gone wrong, and everybody starts, you know, overthinking it.
Yeah.
And so that's why I think it's interesting. Some people do well getting a lot of extra time to see how a track rides, and some do well going out first and not overthinking, you know, hearing all the trouble out there.
It's very easy, and I think it's human nature, isn't it? Just to, you know, you want to know what's going on, but you don't want to know what's going on, and sometimes that can get into your head, and a simple fence that suddenly causes a couple of problems can then feed back into the trailer park, and it can really affect you.
You know what's funny here in this country is we don't have lorries like you guys do, and we have some living quarters in our trailers, but for a lot of riders we stay at hotels. So when you're at the big competitions, there isn't always a place to be able to escape and get away from hearing stuff on the loudspeaker, and so you really have to be able to know yourself and know your preparation, and, you know, be able to put a set of AirPods in or something to block that kind of stuff out if you're ending up having to wait around all day.
Whereas we would shut ourselves in the lorry, as we call them, and put a bit of trashy TV on for a bit, just whilst things are unraveling. We'll try and bring you news of what's happening. I think they're just having, they're clearly doing something down at Fence 5. We don't know what at the moment. But I think we'll probably have a very short break. I know you've got to go. You've given us a lovely hour of your time, and you've got a ride coming up in the 3-star.
Yep.
And really wish you the very best of luck and hope he's a good boy out there. And I don't suppose you'll really know until you're out there.
You don't know, and I mean, that's the thing about knowing your horses so well and being a horseman, is just feeling what they're like on the day. And I mean, you never know. Even on everybody's best, you never know what's going to happen. That's why it's such an exciting Saturday always here. So, I hope to see you back later, and I hope it is a very safe and exciting afternoon for everybody.
Well, if you have time and you can come back later on after your ride, we'd love to have you in here. But thanks very much, Lynn, and the best of luck this afternoon.
Well, thank you so much. You enjoy looking at this beautiful scenery here, all on your own.
We will. So a quick rundown again of that leaderboard, and it is Meg Pellegrini out in front on gorgeous DHI Clear. Inside the time for 30.1. Kirsten Miller, Rosconnell Alto, goes second now with the clear inside the time. Only 4 seconds inside, but does go second on 30.9. And then Michelle Mercier, Chersheen, Fun for All in third, 31.0. Well, we're back underway. And we just saw a horse going to Fence 5. And we can tell you that looked like Alexander O'Neill. Addison Craig, who fell at Fence 5, they were just checking her over. She was sitting on the floor. That's what they were doing. They weren't altering the fence at all. I think she was very sore in her collarbone, shoulder area, so was just being checked over by the medics. But this is now Alexander O'Neill with Milky Bar OS. Another young horse, 6 years old. This grey going on and through the fences. Now, has Alexander got lost? I think the answer is yes, he has. That is no surprise because it is incredibly, he's still thinking, am I on the right line? Have I got the right fences? At the 2 angle brushes. Now, will he have got 20 penalties there? Did he just have a circle? And I think the question is, yes, it was just a time-wasted circle. So Milky Bar. Now what? I think he's retired. I think he's got completely flummoxed on which course he should be jumping, and that's a real shame because that was the angle brushes, I think, at 10. Well, what a pity, because this little horse had done a good dressage of 32.5, was lying in 7th place, but just wasn't going their way. So Alexander O'Neill is walking home. Well, Sydney Shin should be next out of the start box. We'll hopefully get Sydney, catch up with her. Well, what a day it's been so far. Certainly hasn't been trouble-free, but great first round by Meg Pellegrini and Gorgeous DHI. And there is glimpse of Sydney Shin and HSH Crypto, 7-year-olds. 4th in the 2-star at Bucart Farms, and by Kasalko, the dam sire is Lux Z, and they go on. So in fact, what we understand is that having jumped the fences, the double of brush angles, Alexander O'Neill has been technically eliminated because he missed fence 8. So easy to do, especially when you're walking more than one course. So that was a real shame. Well, there is Sydney Shin. Sydney goes on, away from 9 down to those 2 angle brushes at 10A and 10B. 3,866 metres the course distance, with an optimum time of 7 minutes and 26 seconds. And it looks like Stephanie Jackson has had a refusal. Has she? Yes, I think that's her second. And the hand goes up. So another one falling foul. Of fence 5. That was Stephanie Jackson. Fernhill Quality Vision running into trouble. So just waiting for pictures now of Sydney Shin and HSH Crypto. That is Joe Meyer. Joe is our latest starter. Joe riding Ballygriffin Crossfield Cara. Here comes Sydney Shin and HSH Crypto. And they're on to the white rails. The Bridge Oxer at 15. Just about to jump that and then turn to the Terra Nova Barn.
Good at 15, they set up the second water. The Terra Nova.
Jumps the Terra Nova Barn, turns left-handed from the arena. So that changing ground. Into the log. They've actually, all the horses so far, and touch wood, have jumped this super well. Up onto the bank. And this is a bit of man-made bank. So the topography here is pretty flat. Stands well off the left-handed corner and goes now on towards the picnic table, which is just behind the gazebo. Joe Meyer, former Olympian, he rode in the 2008 Beijing Olympic Games with the wonderful Snip. He's ridden a lot of very good horses to top level. One of those being Irish Raffle, and he's got some really, really nice horses. There he is, going to 8. Joe and wife Ruthie do so much to the sport, and this is first 2-star long for this horse, having done 2 1-star intros. Coming now to the rail, ditch and brush shoulder. And beautifully done. Turns in the air, quickly onto the 10th, which is another combination fence. And our latest to join us, Janelle Fleming, Quality Explosion. This combination lying in second place after the dressage on 30.5. Clear of the 5th, that big ditch and brush. Don't get a real idea of just how big that ditch is on the takeoff side. And if you're just joining us, this is the 2-star long, Joe Meyer, coming up to the table, going in the opposite direction. So that was the hammock at 11, then to the big water. So round the corner he comes, past another of the fallen trees that will be jumped later on in the advanced and the 4-star. So Joe Meyer setting up for the house, through the water to jump out over the picnic table. So Ballygriffin, Crossfield Cara looking super. And this lovely mare, just 6 years old, by OBOS Quality. Back up course. So scores keep coming in. And a new score in. No, I don't think we do actually. I think we're pretty much up to date as Joe Meyer comes now to the white rails. The Bridge Oxer, that comes at fence 15, so just past the 5-minute marker before this fence, and then this turn back to the Terra Nova Barn, the only 2 fences that we can see live from our vantage point. So just jumps the Terra Nova Barn, changes legs back, and coming to the water. So the root ball water in, hangs a right, back onto dry ground, and beautifully through. Again, changes the balance here, changes the gear going uphill, then rides forwards to the rail and forwards to that left-handed corner.
The first one, L. The explosion in and out of the yellow top.
Disappearing through the trees, having jumped through the first of the waters. Janelle Fleming and Quality Explosion. 9-year-old 16-1. Irish sport horse again. Owned by Romelu Roux from Panama City in Florida. And then the grey, which is Katie Malansek with Cci2 19, going on to the 8th, Holsteiner, and 7 years old, owned by Katie. And Katie, in fact, picked up 20 penalties at fence 5. Another one to pick up the 20 penalties at that ditch and brush. That's been the influential fence, that is for sure. Interesting line through there, stayed fairly right over the ditch, which then left her quite right of centre to the brush shoulder, ideally wanting to turn back towards that on the 2 strides, or have that slightly in the back of your mind that you're going that way, rather than a little bit of a risk of run out. So, well, this is now Janelle Fleming coming to the root ball water, tight line through the water onto this other root ball, the Fallen Tree. Very quickly away from that left-handed corner, and goes on now to the 4th last. So it's the Mim Table, Feed Wagon, Diamond Brush and Barn left to jump for Janelle Fleming, and Quality Explosion. And there Victoria Sudkamp and Woodstock Rio coming to the rail, ditch and brush shoulder. Beautifully turned in the air and goes on to the angle brushes at 10. The ground conditions absolutely perfect with the irrigation system and the drainage all in place. It has been just meticulously thought out and planned. There's not been a stone left unturned out there. And if you're thinking of joining us, why don't you? There's lots to do. The VIP experience today in the pavilion and inside 2 satellite lounges on the cross-country course, and the exciting Galati Yacht Sale 4-star presented by Insurance Office of America is coming up at 12:30. The live stream, of course, go to terranovaequestrian.com, all of the live stream, also on Horse and Country, and the mini horsemanship camp. Visit the paddock beside Tiny Town this weekend for mini horsemanship camp and sign up your child for hands-on fun with the mini herd. Activities include leading a miniature horse through the obstacle course, grooming and mane braiding, and horse-themed crafts. Well, just going back up the course, this is Katie Malansek for Canada. Cci2 19 up at the white rails. Lovely jump for them at the white rails. To the Terra Nova barn, and then turns their attention to the root ball water setting up. Lovely jumping. I mean, these horses just are jumping that log like it was a skip in the park. Emma Armstrong is our latest to join us. She's had a refusal at fence 5 as well.
This pair is 15th place, 32.9. So run by Graduate Wallace.
So I think word is definitely getting back that it is causing a few problems. This is Emma Armstrong. Emma with Newman coming to 9. Quickly through 9, A, B, and C. And that, having gone through the water and up at the, just had a little bit of a stutter on takeoff, but safely through. Victoria Sudkamp and Woodstock Rio nicely through the final combination fence, so clear all the way. We'll just look at the amount of fences out there, all the lower levels as well, which will be happening tomorrow. There's just a mass, a sea of cross-country fences. Victoria Sudkamp and Woodstock Rio. No, in fact, that isn't. That is Emma Armstrong. Emma at the first of the waters, the big water. In and out. It's nice, as Lynn was saying, to get that first water behind you, get your feet wet in preparation for the water coming up at the end, which is quite a decent water. Katie Malinsek is safely home with Cheerio 19, 20 jumping 18.4 for time. They complete on 71.0. Drops them down from 8th into 21st place at the moment. To the two angle brushes at 10A and 10B. Emma Armstrong and Newman. As Victoria Sudkamp and Woodstock Rio coming up to the bridge. Oxa at 15, just to our right-hand side. And as they set up for that Oxa and then turn their attention to the Terra Nova barn, it's 2 strides. I just wanted to count that, and I think it's about the same from grass to surface and from surface to grass here. 1, 2, 3. It's 3 strides on the grass to the log, which poses its own question actually. We've got on course Elstrode and Karmic Calling. They've had a refusal at fence 5 as well, so another scalp claimed. It is certainly the fence that has proved the most influential out there on course so far. We're just heading out to the Oxa at 8. It is L and Karmic Calling. Mimmed Oxa right in the middle of the far field. Lovely jump there, and now coming to 9, A, B, and C. They've jumped 1 combination, which was at 7, the gate to the corner, and then as they come to 9, it is a 3-part combination. And very quickly, safely through there. Well, on goes L, and that is Alyssa Wallace, it looks like. Another ride for Alyssa. Alyssa with Tully Murray Fifi. Tully Murray Fifi just disappearing towards the last couple of fences. 9-year-old 15-2 Irish sport horse at the hammock. That's at 11 before the water. Elstrode and Karmic Calling as they approach that first big water at 12A and 12B. So Emma Armstrong is home with Newman. 20 jumping, 6 time, and they complete on 62.9. So we just saw fence being jumped and then these double brushes. It's again a fence that's caused a few problems today. The double of angle brushes at 10 as they go onto the hammock. But it has caused a couple of run-outs. So Alyssa Wallace coming round to the water, the big water. 12A, 12B, back to Elstrode, L. Just having a little bit of a discussion coming to the Terra Nova barn. It's an identical replica of the main barn here at Terra Nova. There it is, right behind L now. And again, this little horse, Karmic Calling, ooh, grinding to a halt at the water. She'll now have a little paddle through. So that is another 20 penalties for them. They had one at fence 5. Go on, go on, go on. Jumps in, then the second time of asking. So carrying 40 jumping penalties at the moment. Not looking brilliantly happy out there, Karmic Calling, I'd have to say. And Elle doing a really good job of just saying, look, I've got your hand, stay with me. We just had a very quick glimpse of Alyssa Wallace. Alyssa coming to the white rails, but down there at the double of brushes, the angle brushes, it looks like that could be Michael Nolan. Fernhill, Gallivant. I'm gonna say it is. So Michael coming forwards with a dressage 33.5. And yes, it is Michael. We've got 3 left to go after Michael. Then there's a break before the 3-star. So Michael Nolan for Ireland, safely in and out of that big water. Mikey has done a brilliant job with this horse and having a very good round so far. And there we just see, looks like it could be Meg again with Cooley Wish Upon a Star, and it is. So Meg Pellegrini, our leader, with her first horse, gorgeous DHI.
Barber good at the third. On over the skater.
Safely through the rail ditch and brush shoulder. And there is Michael Nolan. Michael just about to come into view to the white rail, seen astride a mile away. That was beautifully ridden. And wasting no time as he comes to the water.
No jumping cross to that pair.
Beautifully in, turns, and sees a lovely stride to the log out. Up the bank, again, good spot, and to the corner. Over the picnic table, out of view, and we should catch up with Meg Pellegrini in just a second with Cooley Wish Upon a Star, but they're leaving the start box and over the first. Looked like the final rider in Lisa Marie Ferguson, because there is Christina Barber and Tullibard's Twist and Turns. They're going on to 8. Tullibard's Twists and Turns goes now to the 3-part combination, the 9ABC. Here she comes. Christina Barber for Canada. And the 12-year-old, 16-3 Irish Sport Horse. This Dapple Grey goes clear of 9. Meg Pellegrini and Cooley Wish Upon a Star by Comiflow Plus Z. Agano Seat is the dam sire. Former ride of New Zealand rider Ginny Thomason. And Meg picked up the reins only recently, really. Fairly new ride for her. Beautifully through the water. Cooley Wish Upon a Star, owned by Meg herself. And jumps the rail and corner in fine style. So coming to the first water. Christina Barber for Canada, jumps in very nicely. There is the finish, the Forestier archway. Lisa Marie Ferguson with her second ride, with Quality Imp. Jumps the brush shoulder at 9. Brathorin, Quality Imp. Lovely 6-year-old Irish Sport Horse. First 2-star long for those two by OBOS Quality 004. Master Imp on the Damsire side. That's Christina Barber for Canada. Tullibard's Twist and Turns. Up to the white rails, the Bridge Oxer.
And Meg Pellegrini through the finish over the line. And she'll have a time now, 7:09. That is good for a clear
Christina sets up.
Definitely keeps her 2 horses.
Sees a spot.
Really good
Jumps
rider.
well out over that.
Our leader, Meg Pellegrini.
Tullibard's Twists and Turns. Onto the Terra Nova barn, and now the water. bred by William Masterson, Irish sport horse. Bravely in over the log and then just sets up for the fallen tree. Goes on. Ooh! Well, that was a bit of a surprise, I think, for both her and I. Was not expecting him to grind to a halt up the top of the bank, but grind to a halt he did. So 20 penalties she picks up at the rail at 18A. Down to the corner. Just gone a little bit backward now, hasn't he? And it's her job, Christina's job now, to really coax him home. He's going to need a little bit of a handhold coming towards the final few fences. They're all single fences, so should jump them well enough. As she comes into the latter stages of the track, Lisa Marie Ferguson. Here she is, clear of the Trakehner. Jumps the Trakehner at 14. Now the Bridge Oxer, the white rails at 15. If I look to my right-hand side out of the window, I will see her coming up to those white rails.
These are the last two to go for the two-star before the changeover.
And here she comes.
To move to the next class here shortly. You'll be looking for the red and white.
So pops out very neatly, clear of the rail, and turns left to the Terra Nova barn. One, and actually gets the one stride on the bank. So from the grass to the arena surface, it is just that one stride, and then coming into the water, jumps across on the angle. Thought more would do that, but ooh, and down they come. Well, that was a very, very sad end to their day. Just coming under the Forestier Saddlers archway is Christina Barber, but a fall there at the log. Probably a little bit of the way that she jumped in on the angle, then saw that fence come across on the angle as well. But it is all over. Unfortunate elimination for Lisa Marie Ferguson. Last to go out there on the cross country with Rathdown Quality Imp. That concludes the two-star cross country. We are back with the first horse on the cross country at 10:35 for the three-star long. We have a quick course change and a quick break. So make sure you join us then for the three-star. But in the meantime, we should give you a very quick update on the leaderboards. And it is Meg Pellegrini and Gorgeous DHI that lead 30.1. Second, Janelle Fleming and Quality Explosion, 30.5. Third, Kirstian Miller and Rosconnell Alto, 30.9. Fourth, Meg Pellegrini. In fact, it's Michelle Mercier and Shersheen Fun for All, 31. In fifth, Meg Pellegrini and Cooley Wish Upon a Star, 32.3. And in sixth place, Anna Losciavo and Fernhill Maverick on 32.4. If we look at the scoreboards, one fence separates the top 12 horses. So the win could come from absolutely anywhere. Make sure you join us after the break. First horse on the cross country at 10:35.